May 3rd, 2022, it being 7 p.m. I ask you to please stand and salute the American flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I do want to welcome Ellen, our student representative. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi.
I am just going to call a quorum. If we could just go around. Mrs. Sullivan, Mr. Homer.
Here.
Ms. Ehlers. Here. Mrs. Mendez.
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Here.
Ms. Azak.
Here.
Mr. Sullivan.
Here.
Chair's here as well. We have established a quorum. Melinda Campbell, the all-star on the team here, has indicated there are no hearing and visitors. Agenda number 2. So now we'll go on to number 3, which is the consent agenda, subsection A, B, C, and D. Are there any matters that want to come out, or do we want to take them collectively at this time?
Motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, and D.
Motion is on the floor, made by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Mrs. Sullivan. Before we take the vote, we'll read into the record what the matters are. A is the approval of 2022-2023 school committee meeting dates. B is the approval of school closing dates for 2021-2022 school year. C is the acceptance of the March 29, 2022 Diversity, Race, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee meeting minutes. And finally, D is the acceptance of notification of personnel actions, which is leaves of absences, resignations, and retirements. We do have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? It passes unanimous. We now will go on to Agenda 4, which is the report of Superintendent of Schools Mike Thomas. Mike, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, we have a few student representatives here tonight. We have Ellen from Brockton High School, and then we're going to have Deborah and Jesus come up and introduce themselves from the Key Center, and they're going to give us an update on what's going on at the Key Center. So thank you all for being here. So we'll start with Ellen, and we'll move to our other two students right after.
I actually have a PowerPoint for today, so
Sure, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great.
Let me go get the little clicking thing.
Load it up.
So I wanted to start this presentation with our therapy dog, Bonnie. So I just love seeing Bonnie in the mornings, and I know that everybody, every student, every staff member just enjoys spending time with Bonnie. She really gives us joy and peace, and the only reason why I'm starting this presentation with her is because we have a surprise for everyone, but it will have to wait for our next meeting, and I know that everyone will be happy because as of right now, whoever knows what the surprise is about is very excited. So that's just gonna wait for the next meeting. Next, I want to talk about our future. So we're just showcasing student achievements and future plans on an Instagram page called Brockton Commits 2022, which is run by our student officers. The pictures are also shown on our school's TVs. We have so many great students with so many plans in the future. We have students continuing their athletic, academic, music careers in different schools and places. And I just know that wherever, like my classmates and my friends, wherever they go or whatever they plan to do, they'll be able to achieve their goals because they're just also talented, such hard workers, and they just have a great and strong foundation because of Brockton Public Schools. So this is just 3 pictures to show how spring sports are going right now. They're all out in the sun. It's going pretty good. The track team has won their 3 last meets. The baseball team is doing pretty good. The tennis team had their first win 5 days ago against New Bedford. We will be having our musical Hello Dolly. Tickets are now on sale for $12. People can watch the musical on Friday, May 13th, May 14th, and Saturday, May 14th at 7:30, and Sunday, May 15th at 6 o'clock. I just want to give everyone, the crew, the set crew, the actors, dancers, singers, and the staff members a big shout out because they have put so much hard work and like dedication into this whole play. Like the dancers, the singers, everyone, hours and hours of rehearsals during the vacation hours, school hours. They actually have. So this set design this year is very different because they have a catwalk and drops, and the catwalk kind of like goes outside the main stage. We also have 500 new costumes, new set pieces, which was pretty crazy. Next we have, so a couple of events that happened. Math Club had a problem of the day contest. They bought 2 jars of Skittles at BJ's and counted all the Skittles in 1 jar and left the other jar unopened. The problem of the day was for students to guess the count in the second jar. The counted amount for the first one was used as the right answer, and the closest guess was going to be the winner. We had a total of 440 guesses. Our winner was Riley McEvoy, and there were a total of 1,322 Skittles, and Riley's guess was 1,321, and Riley walked away with 1,322 Skittles. What I liked about this is that the Skittle jar was put outside of like the main office, and everyone was just walking around trying to figure out like the right way to figure out this problem. And it wasn't just students, it was staff members, it was teachers, it was everyone just getting together trying to figure out what the right answer could be. So next we have, I went too far, or maybe not. I don't know. Okay, next we have some information about Senior Voices. So I mentioned this last time, but we're basically a group of students who want to properly guide the freshmen and sophomores' high school careers and give them advice for their futures. We've been working with Mr. Thomas, Mrs. Burns, Mr. G, and Mrs. Kopp. Our presentations for the freshmen and the sophomore were going to be today and yesterday, but we planned on leaving them after our very last day, the 24th, after the 24th, and before our graduation, because we have so many AP and IB exams and MCAS. So we just decided it would be best to leave it after, at the end of the month. So other than that, the Senior Voices plan on having a middle school tour. We will be bringing posters to the schools that say, as we say bye, you say hi, and also having short assemblies and giving advice to our upcoming freshmen. We don't have a specific date as of right now, but it will be sometime in May. And we came up with this idea with Mrs. Marion, who's always has the best ideas for the school and is just always there for us no matter what. And we've also met with an elementary class at Angelo, and this was actually Mrs. Perillo's idea. So we talked to them through Teams, we gave them advice, tips on like how to survive middle school, and talked about how important their upcoming years were going to be. Those 5th graders that we talked to were raising money to support the World Center Kitchen. They created bookmarks which will be given to all the donors, and as of right now, we raised $222. And this morning, we actually received thank you cards from the elementary school kids, and it was just so cute. It really warmed my heart. So next, this is the second proposal that we had this year, and the reason why I loved it so much because staff members were involved, and it was just so great. We had Mrs. Marion, Mrs. Bosco, Officer Vaughn, the Access Control Specialist Jilson, and Pilgrim Security Company members. It was just really great because they were all just ready to help us to bring some fun to our school, so I really liked it. Next, we had the Senior Spirit Week. So we had Nickelodeon versus Disney, White Lies, Culture Day, which was my favorite, DC versus Marvel, and Mega Spirit Day. So this was a slide that was supposed to come up after the math problem of the day. So that's us in the left corner. In the right corner, that's us after having the conversation with the elementary kids. And in the bottom left corner is the thank you cards that they sent us. And in the middle, in the top middle, are the bookmarks, which if we buy, all the donations will be going to the World Central Kitchen. Other than that, yesterday we had a cultural open mic night, which was organized by the Classical Modern Language Honor Society with the help of the Jam Club. The whole point of the open mic night was to raise awareness of the different cultures that we have around the school and also strengthen the different cultures that we have. It was the first time that we did something like this, which went pretty well. We had a good amount of audience. We had great acts which represented the cultures and 2 winners who earned prizes. We plan on making this a tradition and continuing it on for the next years. And I want to thank Ms. Umbriana, Ms. Tillis, Mrs. Fox, and Mrs. Lee because they helped us a lot to put this together. We also have new weapon detectors. I know I wrote metal, but they're actually weapon detectors, and I think they're very efficient because there are barely any lines. Students are getting to their first period on time, and there's actually less noise. They don't make that much sound as the other ones. And also, our photography club is continuing their great work, and I just wanted to show just some of the pictures of our staff and how amazing they look. But overall, I just want to say that I can't emphasize how much the building has changed overall from the start of the school year till now. Like, as a senior class, we're happy that, like, the last year is ending on a good note. And my class has been through a lot with, like, COVID and the virtual learning. So I really do think that my classmates deserve a good year, and I'm happy that we're ending on a good note, like I said. So I want to thank all the students who've been doing their best, the deans, the security guards, the community allies, which in fact are a great addition to our school, the officers, the teachers, the administration, the committee, and everybody else. That's it. Thank you so much.
So, Ellen, thank you. I just want to thank you and the seniors for how positive you stayed throughout this whole year when it was a very tough year. And just your positivity and how you just continue to work with Principal Burns, the deans, the assistant deans, and then the whole staff at Brockton High School, the teachers, and the support staff. It's been a long year, and we can always, and a lot of people do, they stay focused on the negative, but you all chose to stay and celebrate the positive and all the positive things that go on at the school. So we thank you for that. It's really uplifting because the school committee, they met on Saturdays when things were not going well at Brockton High and voted to put extra things in place to make sure everybody was safe, able to, give us funds to allow us to keep the prom prices down and the yearbook prices down. And so I want to thank the school committee for your support. And again, it was very difficult times, but I'm so happy that you've all stayed positive. And I want to thank the administrators and the entire staff at Brockton High School for hanging in there and really, making the end of the year really positive. So thank you.
I also want to thank the school committee because, like you mentioned, the prom prices are not as high as they used to be, the yearbook prices, and also we don't even have to pay for our caps and gowns. So thank you for that, and thank you for all. Thank you.
Alan, I just want to thank you as well as a student representative. That was awesome to see what schools the kids are going into the armed services to serve our nation. But I think the most telling thing is the smiles on everybody's face. So thank you for your leadership, and we're going to have a great graduation outside. So thank you again.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Mayor, I just had a quick question. So actually a comment. So Ellen, thank you so much. Just seeing your smile just makes it so worth it, because the past couple of years were tough, not only on the students, but we had some pretty tough meetings and seeing what a lot of our students are going through. And it was a worldwide pandemic. There was nothing more we could have done. But being able to help the students and giving you guys that senior year. And I know a lot of people are watching the meeting. So I know after the last presentation that we had with the students, you had brought some presenters with you at the last meeting. I probably got maybe 3 or 4 emails, and everybody was like, we love this. They love hearing from our students. and you showcasing that was just awesome.
Thank you.
So, no, thank you. Thank you. And we wish you the next few weeks are bittersweet. It's an emotional roller coaster for a lot of students. My favorite question is, when's the prom? We haven't talked about the prom. So,
The 26th
the 26th of
at the
May.
Gillette Stadium.
You all
6 to
deserve
11.
it. You definitely deserve it. And
you.
we wish the next few weeks, enjoy it. You know, it's a pleasure having you in the class of 2022. Again, like the class of 2021, you guys went through a lot. So glad to see the smiles.
Thank
Thanks for the
you.
presentation.
Thank you.
So we're going to have, thank you, Ellen. We'll see you next time. So we're going to have our key school students come down to the microphone. Deborah and Jesus, come on down. You can go right over to that. Let's make sure it's on for you. So introduce yourself and tell us the grade you're in, and tell us all the great things happening at the Key Center.
Hi, my name is Deborah Duvilla and I'm a 9th grader. And I'm here to share some exciting things from the Key Center about our spring and summer upcoming events. But first, I would like to appreciate our seniors that are graduating and have accomplished the following college acceptance: Simmons University, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Bryant University, Western New England College, Bridgewater State University, Southern New Hampshire University, UMass Dartmouth, Massasoit Community College. You did very well. So this year, we're going to be graduating Friday, June 3rd with the Huntington Therapeutic Day School and the Brockton Virtual Learning Academy in the Brockton High School Auditorium. And together we have more than 45 graduates. Our seniors will be having their celebration week at Champion, and it begins May 25th. They'll be hosting senior breakfast, senior dinner, award nights, other fun activities during senior week. This week we have Massasoit coming to Champion to host an on-spot admission day for our remaining students from the high school to attend the college. And thank you for hosting us tonight.
Thank you for being here.
Jesus.
Hello, my name is Jesus Perez, and I am not used to this. I'm one of the following graduating seniors from Champion High. Our students actually recently did I am really not good at this. Our students recently finished a unit on John Lewis during like our seminar period. And after that, we actually moved on to our newest project, which we're actually making blankets for the victims of the war on Ukraine. So that way we can teach our students empathy and hopefully help those who are in need. And next year, the students along with the staff are actually going to go into a new building next year, since ours is being torn down. It will actually have a greenhouse. Really lucky, actually. We had like a little patch. They got a whole garden. And actually, this Thursday, our teachers and staff will actually be seeing the new building. Lucky. Also, now that's almost the end of the year, we're actually getting ready for our cookout, our end of the year cookout, which obviously you guys are allowed to come if you guys wish. Teachers will be bringing, foods, all kinds of foods for all the students to congratulate them for the end of the year at all they achieved. I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. So I want to also, again, thank the Keith School. I want to thank former Principal Burns, who started the year at the Keith, and then Principal England, and then our associate principal still, Dr. Connors is still the associate principal there as well, and Carlita Weaver is our assistant, and then the staff at the Keith. It just shows you, school committee, you've always supported the pathways, the different pathways, and Champion is such an important part of the Brockton Public Schools, and the work that the teachers and the support staff do with those students to see them to graduation and in the colleges they've been accepted to. I can't speak enough of the work that you've done, and thank you, students, for how hard you work. And I'm just so thrilled that you've had a good, it's been another tough year, but the end of the year is going well, and we wish you well who are graduating, and the students who are still going to go, they'll go into a new building for next year, so we're very excited. So thank you and congratulations. It was a great presentation, and we'll have that more often because it's important for, the Key Center, the Huntington Therapeutic Day School, the Edison Academy, and also somebody from BVLA will come and speak to school committee as well. So we're hearing from all our different high schools. So thank you. We appreciate it. It's great. So before we move on to Soraya DeBarros, Dr. DeBarros, and the Community School Summer Program, I do want to do a quick introduction to this year's administrative interns. Next meeting, we'll have much more information. They're doing a write-up for us, and Dr. Moran will present that, but I want to introduce them. They're here with us tonight. They'll be here with us for the rest of the school committee meetings until the end of the school year. So we have Yolanda Fonseca. Hi, Yolanda. Yolanda's a language acquisition coach for the bilingual department. So she's working with the Brookfield School in Human Resources for her internship assignment. Jennifer Hunter is a language acquisition coach for the bilingual department. She'll be working with the Promise School and with Jess in the communications office. And we have Charlene Montrond, who is a bilingual social studies teacher at East Middle School. Charlene will be doing her internship assignments with Ashfield and with Dr. DeBarros at the community schools. We also have my old friend Angie Onabog, who she and I worked together at the high school for a long time. She's an English teacher at Brockton High School. She'll be doing her internship at Brockton High School and with Dr. Connors at Central. And then finally we have Jane Werb, who is an instructional leadership coach at the Baker School, and she'll be doing her internship assignment at the George School and with Kelly Jones in the bilingual department. So congratulations to the interns. Thank you for being here. Again, thank you, school committee, for another great program that you support every year, along with the BEA, an administrative internship program that's been in existence for well over 30 years that I went through when I was a teacher. I think Dr. Zakowicz went through it as well, and Sharon, and most of us that are June, pretty much all of us that Soraya went through it. So it's a great feeder system, and it's a great program, and it's something that it's been an agreement with the Brockton Education Association and the school committee for it's probably over 50 years now that it's been in place. So we thank you for supporting that. So next, I'm going to introduce Dr. Soraya DeBarros to update you on all the summer programs. They just completed their summer catalog a couple weeks ago. And again, you'll be amazed at the summer programs that are offered this year. And Soraya will fill us in on all those. Welcome, Soraya.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Superintendent Thomas, for the invite. I have a very quick presentation. However, you have the catalog. Okay, if you don't have a catalog, please get one from Melinda. I have to say that it's beautiful. And I hope you agree with me. Okay, now that I put it out there, I can start. No, just kidding. We're very excited at the community schools office because of all the offerings that we have this year. Last year when I came here to introduce what we were going to do. You know, I get very excited about these things, and June and Mike, they all know about it. And because of the many offerings, the many grants, the many partnerships, and again, it's all about partnerships and who we can get in the right place doing the right thing for our students. So last year when I came in, I introduced the programs that we had. We had many, many programs, and we had 4,336 students in attendance. For the first time ever, we had 2,900 more students than we had in the past. And last year, with all the COVID and the pandemic and everything that we were going through, we still had a lot of students in person and parents who wanted to attend, for the students to attend. This year, we have even more programs, and we have combined programs. For example, the program at D'Angelo School is a combination of 4 programs that we had last year that were extremely successful. And I have to say that we started the registration yesterday, and today the program is half full. Just saying. So there's a lot of interest. The phones have been ringing off the hook. Charlene, who started with us today, could see some of that. Parents are very excited. It's all over the place. But again, we want to thank everyone for the help, for the support. It has been a labor of love. The principals, the staff at the school, the teachers, our team at the community schools office, everyone has been doing an amazing job making sure that the word gets out there and that parents know that opportunities exist. And something that I wrote on the second page of the booklet is that zip codes should not define opportunities. Opportunities for students that live in Brockton are of utmost importance to us. So we want to make sure that we get the partners in. We want to make sure that we get the grants. We want to make sure that we run after any and all grants possible. Michelle Bolton and June, they keep on sending grants our way to make sure that we get the money that we need. And I know that Superintendent Thomas has been very clear about Soraya, whatever is needed, please make sure that you do it, because we have the full support. So we thank everyone for that. And you know, the mission statement for community schools is to make sure that we provide educational, cultural, recreational, and social programs to our students and our families. And we're doing that. So this summer we have 2 types of program. We have academic support programs, and we also have the enrichment programs, especially through 21st century programs. So this is the catalog in a nutshell. And again, if you don't have one, please get one. Melinda has plenty of them. And the second pictures, the pictures to the right, the 2 pictures to the right, they show the list of the free programs and the list of paid programs. The paid programs have been mostly the programs that have been going on for a very long time. I should say forever, which is a great thing, because if they keep on running every year, that means a lot to the community. And we have parents who have been doing, for example, Get Ready for as long as I have lived in Brockton. So, and parents keep on coming back and keep on participating. The picture on the front of the catalog is my favorite picture of last summer. This is a boy who was playing tennis last year, and he was posing with a Miami Heat t-shirt. Okay, so very interesting. He was all into the program, and he's coming back. His sibling is also coming back to attend the Brockton Public Schools, and he asked his mom if he is famous. So, needless to say that he's very famous. The picture to the right, those are, that's the list of paid programs, as I was saying. The one in the middle is all the free programs that we have. And free programs are for Brockton resident students. And we have programs for all ages. We have programs from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock. We have programs from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2:30, and we also have junior boxer that starts at 12 and ends at 4. So it's a varied range of programs and of times. I got this picture today from Miss Dana Cohen at D'Angelo School, and this is her class. These are her students who were all into the offerings. And this is what she said: "My students loved hearing all about your summer programs. The brochure was a big hit." So it's good to know that students are enjoying this. And we passed the catalog out to all the elementary schools. Every single student received a catalog. For the middle schools, they were sent to the office, and for the high school, they were sent to each building. And we also have distributed them different offices around this city. That's the Kennedy School, making sure that the catalog and all the information for the summer program. So again, we want to thank everyone who has worked with us, has done an amazing job. So I said that the catalog has been distributed to all K through 5 students and families, but also we have the electronic version, which we have shared with principals. Jess Hodges has been sending messages out. We have it on Facebook. Please share, please like, and make sure that people do know that the programs are out there, especially the free programs. And I heard today that a counselor was in a meeting when she got the catalog, and she was so excited, and she doesn't even have kids in Brockton, but she was so excited going through, and she was like, oh my gosh, and most of them are free. Yes, most of them are free. So we want to make sure that people attend, that our students know that Brockton Public Schools is doing an amazing job of offering programs for our families. You can see that I get all excited about these things. So the registration is, they just have to go to brocktoncommunityschools.com to register. As of this afternoon, we had 237 students already enrolled. And we have a lot on the on the wait list as well, because the programs that are academic referrals. So we're getting referrals and recommendations from the school, but we also made a wait list. We don't want any seats to go to waste. So if there are seats available, we're putting students in those seats. Placements will be done, just in case you're asked, placements will be done May 31st to June 10th. And then program assignments will be done the week of June 13th. So everyone will be getting an email, a phone call. We have bilingual facilitators working with us, all different languages, making sure that parents understand exactly what the programs are all about, understand the logistics of the programs, and going from there. And this Saturday, we're going to have a summer kickoff event. So it's going to be a big event. We're going to have all kinds of games and fun stuff for kids. We'll have food, we'll have a DJ. The summer supervisors will be there to answer any questions. We'll be there making sure that parents register on site. And also we'll have the bilingual facilitators helping parents with translating, with making sure that they understand again what the program is all about. So feel free to pass by. It's going to be at our new location, 500 Belmont Street, from 11 o'clock to 3 p.m. And stop by, take pictures, put it on Facebook, make sure that people know. And it's all about making sure that people know that the programs are out there, that students can attend. And that's it. No, thank you so much. I also brought a few goodie bags, a few gifts for the school committee members and anybody else who would like them. Melinda has them. So, like I said, it has been just a labor of love, making sure that everything is done for our students and always with our students in mind. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I know, last year we started later with the communication, so it's just awesome that the communication is started so early, and it just shows that parents signing up, caregivers signing up already. It just shows how successful these programs have been. I have a question, though. According to the paid programs and free programs, I'm noticing there's only one that offers for preschool age. Is there a reason why we can't extend more programs for this age group?
There's actually no reason why we can't. We have students in preschool right now, so those who are going to preschool, there's one program for them. But those who are in preschool already and they're going to kindergarten, we have many programs.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any way to, in the future, think about extending more opportunities for that age group, 3 to 4?
Most definitely. Like I usually say, there are opportunities out there. And like I said, we have been doing and we've done a lot but guess what? There's a lot more to be done. So this is just work in progress. What we're doing, we're building up. We're making sure that whatever we have is robust, is sound, is good to go. Once we know exactly what needs to be done, then it's time to build up. And as you know, 2 years ago, for example, I'm only speaking about me being in the position. So 2 years ago, we did a program, a virtual summer program. June remembers that well, where nobody knew what they were doing. We didn't know what we were doing either. And I had gotten the job a few months before that. But we did pull it off. We did a summer program with 240 students virtually. And I have to say that it was the largest program in Massachusetts. Actually, the state told us that we would not be able to pull it off, and we did pull it off with 240 students. And then we had a big feast at the end, a party at the Arnone School. So that was 2020. For 2021, we did do the 31 programs I talked about. But last year, it was, with COVID, it was like, let's do this. Oh, no. Take the masks off, put the masks on. So it was like trying what to do. This year is the first summer that we know exactly what we're doing. So from now on, like I have been saying to Mr. Thomas and to Dr. McGuire, from now on, it's just a matter of building up. So now we have the logistics in place. Let's make it bigger. And we need more money too.
And also, this, Soraya's, the community school programs, that doesn't include what special education runs. So special ed runs programs for all 3 levels. It would include preschool. So you have elementary. They're located at the, I want to say, Plouffe, Sharon is? They're at the Plouffe School. Then there's the special education program for middle school and high school that's run here at Brockton High. So those are part of students' IEPs, and some of those students are preschool students who are currently in preschool. So and then going into kindergarten next year. So those are, Laurie can come and talk to you about those summer programs because that's involves a lot of students every year. So that's separate from, obviously, the community schools. That's programs that are run through special education that are in students' IEP for summer programs.
Sorry, I just wanted to add. Also, I love how you include in the same brochure, the summer programs, the programs that are included, I think, throughout the year, right? As well, not just the summer ones. And then the last thing I wanted to say, I noticed there's an adult swimming. So that's a huge shout out, especially from our conversations that we've had previously from the tragedies we've had here. So that's just awesome that we're even opening up to adults. Thank you for that.
Thank you. We have many adult programs coming up in September. So we're working on it. Again, we're working with our partners to make sure that we offer, for example, ESL classes. We're working with Concord Food to go there and teach ESL. So there are many programs coming up. But I just want to say something about the remote tutoring that you said. It's the first time that we're doing it because that's something that came about during COVID times as well, when we were all home and doing school virtually. So that's something that we're extending through the summer so that we can close some of the gaps during the summer. So we'll have 10 certified staff working Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, tutoring our students. Okay?
I'll go with Mrs. Sullivan, then Ms. Azak. Mrs. Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Soraya, for the presentation. It was a great presentation. Also, I want to say that parents really need to take advantage of these programs. They're great programs. Community schools didn't always, was never able to offer free programs or this many programs. They've gone through some dark times, but they have, some really hard-working people that, thanks to you, that and the previous directors, that have really brought this program, to where you're seeing it today, which is really great.
And this young man is definitely a celebrity, so thank
He
you for bringing
is.
that up. Ms. Azak, please.
Thank you. Actually, Mrs. Mendez and Mrs. Sullivan actually touched base on what I was going to mention. I loved seeing the adult swimming. I remember last year, we were like in awe. This is awesome. We're offering so much for our students and our families. And I know I always ask the same question anytime I see anything offered and there's a fee. Is there a way somebody can sponsor a child or make a donation to help them with the ones that are that do cost something? That's question one. And then question two, what is our, that was impressive. This was just live on a short period of time yesterday, and we have 200 and some odd students that signed up. What is your max? And when you hit max, if you're still getting funds coming in and interest, are we able to add more classes or more? I hate to turn a child away when, so many parents do rely on this, and they rely on the camps and the different things going on in the summer to help them when they're at work, plus to keep the students, keep them not only entertained, but just so they don't just slack off in the summer, or they're still, doing something that they're learning from. So that's my two-part question.
Thank you. I want to go back to Judy, to what she said about doing the work. I have to say it has been teamwork. It's all about working with the team and making sure that everyone gives in and puts in what they have, because together we're better, we're stronger. So thank you for that. Your question, donation, they're always accepted. We will not turn any donations away, but we do have camperships, we have sponsorships, and we do have scholarships as well, which are all the same thing. But the thing is that we accept money, we accept donations from different people, and we have had donations throughout the years. And every school will also get 6 scholarships, and that will be sent shortly, so that they can also recommend 6 students. Because of the grants that we get, we're able to provide free programs, but if parents want a program that is a paid program, we'll gladly work with them. So if people want to make a donation, they just have to contact us, and then we'll show them exactly what to do. So Community School 508-580-7595, or just email me. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, I would love to say that we don't have a maximum, a cap. But unfortunately, with everything, we do have to have a cap. What I have to say, though, is that with hiring, this year, Community Schools has been all about streamlining the processes. And for the people that work with me, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's all about making sure that everything is done efficiently and is as clean as possible, as clean as we can make it. So with the hiring process, we're trying to work with Dr. Moran and make it as clean as possible, as fast as possible. So this year, we have had, I want to say, about 500 applicants for different positions. So what we're doing is making sure that everyone is interviewed. So we're doing the hiring right now, and we have people ready to start at any time now. And we have more people, which last year we didn't have, because last year we were looking for people to work. This year we do have a lot of people, and if there's a need, we will make sure that we get more classes. There are programs that will never turn students away. For example, the Get Ready program, they will not. So we'll be working with the supervisors. And again, we're not in the business of sending any student away. So we'll work with families. We'll make sure that we get the programs as long as it is safe to run those programs in the buildings where we have them.
And I just had one last question. So there's a tab on our BPS webpage. Is there a tab where they can go right to this and register? And what is your Facebook page for those that are watching that are not familiar with it? Just so parents that are watching know where to go to look for it. And I know a lot of times we have the pop-up box when we're on our BPS website, and it does, show us different things that we have going on within the community. And I'm sure this is probably one of them, but I just want to clarify, just so those watching know where to go.
They can go to BPS website. They can go to BrocktonCommunitySchools.com. They can also go on our Facebook, which is Brockton Community Schools. We have it there. And please share. Like I have been saying, please share. Actually, BCA, Brockton Cable Access, we have been working with them. They have our information. The enterprise has our information. So we're making sure that people get it and that they pass out the information. At the mayor's, I want to say 2 weeks ago, you had the summer event. So our flyers were also passed out, so people know that these programs are taking place. But again, word of mouth is the best thing, and we have plenty of catalogs, so please pass them out.
Thank you.
Jarrett, Mr. Homer, please.
Thank you. I was just going to ask about any additional events that maybe not part of the summer camp program, but I know in previous years before COVID pandemic, there were evening events held in the summertime for families and drop-in events, and they had different things like that. Is there any plans for anything like that coming up as well?
Not in the evenings. Not right now. No.
Well, we will be having the Brockton After Dark program, which is a little different than community schools, which is start in the day and they get ready, but we will continue to do the mayor's Brockton After Dark here at Brockton High.
For, eighth graders that are going into high school, I'm assuming there's not a hard and fast rule that they can't participate in a high school event that's been dubbed as a high school event, or elementary school children that are going into middle school, like when they're bridging that gap, how would they handle the catalog?
Okay, actually, we're all about bridging the gaps. So we have thought about it. Dr. Connors is also here. We have 5 programs that rising 9th graders can apply to attend. Those programs we have some of them that are academic referrals, so we have been working with the middle school counselors and principals, making sure that those students attend one of the programs that we have. If you go to the back of the catalog, I'll just mention it for you. It starts on page 31. We have the study and fun program, so that not only has the academic part, like the math and then the ELA, but it also has enrichment programs in the afternoon, so it's a fabulous program for them to attend. We also have the middle school leadership camp, which is heavily academic, but it has bits and pieces of enrichment as well. That's going to happen at South Middle School. We have the vocational and career program, which will be taking place here at the high school. So that's another program that they can attend. And engineering is everywhere is another one that they will also attend. And in partnership, and I mentioned partnerships, we also have a partnership with the YMCA, which we have had for years. And they have 2 programs with us. One is the Power Scholars, which is grades 2 through 5. The other one is the Y Leaders. And that's for students in 8th grade, so the rising 9th graders. So there are 5 programs that they can attend. So like I said in the catalog, we have a program for each grade level. We have it covered.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sullivan, please.
Thank you for the presentation, Soraya.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to say, every year you do a fabulous job, but this year it seems to be over and above. I just wanted to give credit to you and your staff, because this is fabulous.
Thank you.
Everything you can think of is in this catalog.
Thank you.
You really outdid yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. You just need to talk to my boss so that he can, give me a raise. No, just kidding.
I'll talk to him.
No, the
Everybody
thing.
that Soraya is a union member.
Oh.
Then we have to talk to Kim. No.
Her
The thing
raises.
is that I have to say it has been a lot of work. It has been months. And like I said, Miss Montron was in the office today. It has been months and months of making sure that we have it all covered, of meeting with partners, of the team making sure that we provide the programs, of meeting with my supervisors and making sure that we have all the programs and all the principals and everything else. So it has been teamwork. Everyone putting in, and like I said before, it will just get better with time, because now that we know what we're doing, it should get better next year.
Nice job.
Thank you.
One thing I just want to share with you, Soraya mentioned Concord Foods. So I took a tour of Concord Foods. A lot of people don't even know it's one of the largest food manufacturers in the nation, based here off of West Chestnut Street on Knapp Drive, where the old Knapp Shoe corporate office used to be. And when I met with the new CEO and CFO several weeks ago, they mentioned that many of their employees, about 96%, are trying to learn English as a second language. From that table, I literally called Mike from the table and said, let's see what we can do to coordinate it. And he had Soraya meet that day so that we are actually going to be providing ESL on site. They're all Brockton residents. It was just a win-win situation. So I want to thank Superintendent and Dr. DeBarros for stepping up on that. That's a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this time? Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Soraya. Great job. Next, we're going to invite up Dr. Ethan Cancel. He's going to give us the results of the winter STAR testing. Ethan, you're going to work from over there, right? You got your clicker? You good? All right.
Good enough, I hope. Good evening, everyone. Let's see if I can get this thing going. Let's see. Well, there we go. Absolutely thrilled to be here. It's always fun to talk about data with you. Just wanted to go over the organization of the presentation for tonight. We're going to obviously go over the STAR winter results. Thrilling. We are going to look historically, give you a sense of context, how we've done over the past 4 years. We're going to take a look this year from fall to winter. That's really what STAR is geared to do. We're going to look at the student-specific groups. We're going to talk about how averages only are telling part of the story. And we're going to talk specifically about how data inform instruction. So, without further ado, 5 things to remember. 1, STAR is a good predictor, but this is winter. We do STAR in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring. The spring is a better predictor than the winter, which, by the way, is a better predictor than the fall for MCAS. It's a good predictor, but it's not perfect. Which brings up the second point. STAR reading, which is, we do STAR reading and STAR math, does not measure writing, which was a major focus for BPS this year, and it's an important part of the MCAS. So again, it's a good predictor, but not perfect. We're definitely going to talk about how averages do not capture the whole story. So you're going to hear me say, on average, this is how we did. That's building suspense. Now you're all paying attention. Okay. In case any of you forgot, the pandemic is not over. I bring this up because if I had to think about, okay, we've been out of school, we had an absolute learning gap, we suffered through a pandemic, so now we're going to go back and we're going to accelerate all this learning and we're going to get kids back into school and get teachers back into school and get everyone used to doing this again. This would not be, the conditions under which I would write it up. I bring this up because we had some real headwinds. We had, if we think back, we had Delta and we had Omicron. We were telling people, our health advisors were telling people, if you're sick, don't show up to work. If you're sick, don't show up to school. And believe it or not, an awful lot of people were sick and they didn't show up to work or school. We couldn't, if you recall, we couldn't open up Brockton High after the winter holidays. So it's not an excuse. It's just the situation we are operating in. And by the way, STAR's lagging indicator, we have focused on instructional improvement. If you get instruction improved, you increase student learning. As you improve student learning, it will be reflected in the scores. So it takes a little while to go through. Without further ado, the first slide. This is giving us a historical context, as I promised. As you can see, it starts down at the bottom in 2019, and the most recent years up at the top. This is for reading. It's broken into the red, yellow, green, and purple. Red represents the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 who are not meeting expectations. This is the MCAS performance level, so it's predictive of this. You can see that you have a large amount of students who are not meeting expectations, larger than in the past, slightly better than last year at this time. However, last year kids were taking it at home, kids were taking it in person, so I think that you need to really concentrate just on what the big numbers are. Obviously, we'd like to see many more in the green and the purple, the meeting expectations and the exceeding expectations, but we have what we have. So we have 17.6% meeting expectations. Okay, that was last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. Now, how we can control this year. This is what we can control. We're not talking about testing in the past. We test in the fall. That's the one on top. The one on the bottom is the more recent. And you can see there is slight improvement. Again, this is for star reading. This is all students grade 3 through 8. You see that you have quite a few people in the fall, almost 40%, 39.4% not meeting expectations, 43.1 partially meeting expectations, and 16.2 meeting expectations, and then a tiny sliver. It's about 1% exceeding. You can see in the winter that we went, again, slightly, but we went in the right direction. There are fewer students not meeting expectations. There are more students who are meeting expectations. And even though it's impossible to see, there are slightly more exceeding expectations. So this is the exact same sort of chart, but it's for math. And you can see something that's a little bit different about this one. If you take when the students took the assessment, some of them were taking it from home. If you take that seriously, you can say, oh no, this year in the winter we have slightly more students, slightly more students who are not meeting expectations compared to last year. I would take it with a grain of salt, but what I wouldn't take with a grain of salt whatsoever is you've got over 41% of the students not meeting expectations. That means not meeting grade level expectations as defined by the MCAS. So that's very serious. So this gives you again, so this year, which you can really control, how have we done? Well, you see again, similar to the reading, slight improvement. Not dramatic improvement, slight average improvement. All right. So now the student-specific groups, this replaces, this is what the Department of Education now refers to, formerly referred to as subgroups, now they're student-specific groups. These are things like students with disabilities, students who are English learners, students who are economically disadvantaged, the different race groups that the state defines. But here's the big takeaway. We can go into exquisite detail, but the simple, overarching fact is the student-specific groups followed very closely to the general district trends. I do want to point out some highlights. The African American students reduced the achievement gap, this is very good news, in the not meeting expectations category for reading, and they also reduced it in the meeting expectations category for math. The even better news about this is sometimes one group improves and the other group gets worse. It wasn't that way. One group improved and the other group improved more. So that's exactly what you want to see. So that's good news. Some more good news, the English learners, they had the greatest rate of improvement for students not meeting expectations in both reading and math. So it's good. Now this was one that cheered me up. Students with disabilities improved at all 4 performance levels. So the not meeting, the partially meeting, the meeting, and the exceeding for both reading and math. So that's what you want to see. This is something that sort of sets us up for the next slide, but there is a little bit of concern here. The achievement gap for students meeting expectations actually increased in reading, but that wasn't consistent for all grades. In fact, it was a very different story in grades 7 and 8, very different. So this was driven primarily by the elementary grades. That's just a comment on how the data shaped up, which I wrote down what averages hide. Averages can't tell the whole story. They tell part of the story. They tell you on average, in general, which, by the way, I wanted to tell you about the Skittles that you brought up. Apparently, I've never tried this, but I've read this in lots of books. Apparently, the best way to pick the number is to get a very large group of people to guess and take the average. Apparently, it works every time. So, Now with that tidbit, we're back to the data. This is a pretty important chart, and I'm going to take a little time explaining it because it's a little bit complicated, but what it basically is saying is, here are the percentiles, the amount of improvement from the fall to the winter. And if you take this red line in the middle, this is for reading, if you take the red line in the middle, that's if you improved not at all, 0. That's the 0 line. If you are to the left of this line, note the little animation there, you did not improve. In fact, that first bar is from -1 to -9. That means you went down between 1 and 9 points. The next group is you're down between 10 and 18 points, and so on and so forth. So you can see there are quite a few students. In fact, there's almost 3,000, but there are 2,790 students who did not improve from the fall to the winter. That's not what you expect. You expect everyone to do better, because in the fall, you haven't, it's very close to the beginning of school. You haven't had a chance to learn much. After you've had all that awesome instruction, you should know a lot, but that wasn't the case for a large number of students. On the other hand, on the right side, you see that there are 3,188 students whose percentiles improved. And I'm going to tell you, there are students, if you look at that number, 467, there are 467 students who improved between 27 and 35 points. So just think about this. If you scored in the 50th percentile in the fall, and you improved, let's just say 27 points, that's awesome. You're now in the 77th percentile. There were 467 students in Brockton who did this. So there are plenty of kids who were really dramatically improving. The reason percentiles are helpful to consider, when you look at the percentile, it says, hey, this is how you did compared to the whole country who took this test in your grade. So this is how they did in the fall, and this is how you're doing now in the winter. So it's helpful to see that, and you really see this two different stories going on, which is covered over by an average. I'm going to get back to some of the conclusions we can draw on this, but this is math, same chart, same design, and you have a little over 3,000 students whose percentile decreased, and you have almost 3,000, 2,967 students whose percentile increased. It's the same sort of story. If you remember, on average, everyone improved just a little bit on average, but it's really, really different. Some people improved dramatically. Some people actually regressed and did not do well. Now, I brought up the pandemic. I can tell you that when we look at the data, we see that absences have important impacts on students. So that's just a fact. So whether it was the teachers who were absent or the students who were absent, it is complicated. It's much nicer when you can make generalities and just these generalizations, and you say things like, oh, well, Mike Thomas is an awesome teacher. His data is great. If you're in his class, you do better. You're stuck with, Ethan, sorry, but you didn't do well. It wasn't that way. I looked at classes that were really doing well, that had, over on this side, just these really dramatic improvements. And I looked in that class, and there were kids who were absolutely doing fabulously, making great strides. And in that same class, you would have kids who were going backwards. It wasn't about, you couldn't just say, oh, it's this or that. And when you unpacked it, when you try to peel back the layer, when you talk to the schools about it, very often you'd hear these stories. Oh, yeah, well, this person had this happen because of the pandemic, and they were out for this, and, blah, blah, blah. So it's just been a difficult year, but the averages hide a lot. That's the point there. But it does tell me that for an awful lot of people, under the right conditions, I think we're doing just the right thing. And that brings me to my next slide. What did we do? So this is a sort of reprise from the presentations that Dr. Zach has given you. But I can tell you that, I hate to say it, we weren't incredibly original on this one, but if you look at the large-scale, successful district improvements, there's a basic template. And if you look, that's what the research says at large-scale district improvements. And if you look in Brockton at the schools that really improved in the past, Brockton High, Davis, Huntington, there were a bunch of schools that really improved, pretty much follow a similar track. There is a literacy focus, and focus is a key word. I mean, look down at the bottom. You've got your focus areas. Effective instruction, active reading and writing, positive relationships. There, it's a focus. You want to talk to Dr. Zach? If you're not talking about that, go see her another time. So, an instructional improvement, that's what it's about. And please don't lose sight of this. It's not about test scores. Test scores follow instructional improvement. It's about instructional improvement. So, how do you get there? Well, Dr. Zach said, it can't be by accident. It has to be through deliberate hard work and planning. You want to improve educational experiences for kids? Plan. Work at planning. So, Dr. Zach and Maria and the Office of Teaching and Learning roll out the lesson plan templates. Okay. Well, if you're going to improve instruction, and if you're going to make that your focus, you got to have walkthrough tools. What do we know? What gets monitored gets done. So, we had the walkthrough rubric, we had the tool that was handed out to all the schools, and we had Maria Lafort going on multiple visits to all the schools. And all the members, Mike was there, Sue was out there, we all went. And it was great. And you'd go with the instructional leadership team, you'd go through all these classes, and then you would have these debriefs about instruction. That's how you get better. That's how all these districts get better. Then there was Reading and Writing Wednesdays, and that was an all subject. Again, it's not only that it's ELA where you learn to write. This is writing in every subject, in math and science, you name it, in art. If you work this, it happens. And this is proven in Long Beach, in Chicago Public Schools, in District 2 New York, at Brockton High. It doesn't matter. If you do this, it works. Okay. This now gets a little bit about what my department does. We really wanted to build some tools that would help people with their ability to drill down, to get large amounts of data together in one place and drill down to focus on equity. This is one of Mike's really big focus areas. And one of the other things was, he said, and so did Dr. Zakowitz, said, get out in the schools, don't just build it, make sure they know how to use it, and make sure they are using it. So, that's music to my ears. I love to do that. So, did the MCAS visits in the fall, just went over, completed the STAR, the Winter STAR, and we're using something called Power BI. It's a Microsoft product, and we're teaching people how to use it and how to drill down, and then people are making these great suggestions like, hey, how does attendance correlate with this? Or could you add this? How about behavior? How about discipline? How about this? So as people give us information, we improve the product. I do want to add another caveat about this data analysis tool and what it allows you to do. It's a real live example. It happened in a school, and it was just a great example from my perspective of how it's not opinion, it's not my own ideology, it's what does the data tell us. There was a principal, and this principal said, I've got some teachers who think they're doing a good job, and I tell them, look, your results aren't that good, and they say, yeah, I've got an unusually high number of students with disabilities or English learners in my class. So other than us gasping at that, I said, well, that's an empirical question. Let's take a look. We have this tool. I'm not going to look at how that teacher did with those students. I'm going to look at students who don't have disabilities, students are not English learners, and I'll even throw in students who aren't economically disadvantaged. And lo and behold, guess what we found? Those students didn't do well either. And in the same school, at the same grade, there are teachers who were doing extremely well, again, with all students. So it really does provide you with this evidence that, a statement can just be flat out wrong, but you have evidence and data to support it. So that was a nice example. Here are the conclusions. Apparently, I've been reading this book about, you'd think I wouldn't have to do this, but I read this book about the neuroscience of writing and how people comprehend. And so it said, believe it or not, have an introduction, have a body, and then have a conclusion. So here are my conclusions. So hopefully 20 years from now, you'll remember this. I probably won't remember my name, but that's okay. There are small improvements. We talked about this. Small improvements, math and reading, on average. We also saw that we are scoring lower than pre-pandemic. So the challenge is real. I mean, we are where we are. The student-specific groups are pretty much, this isn't totally perfect, but pretty much following similar trends as the district average. There are many students who are accelerating their learning. You don't gain 30 percentile points compared to the rest of the country without doing that. But there are also plenty of students who are still struggling. We have absolutely implemented research, and I want to put that underscore experience-based strategies. This is personal experience in Brockton. It worked here. And we've been refining our data tools and our protocols, and we've been out helping the schools use them. And that's going to be, Mike talked to me. He said, this is going to be a focus going forward as well, for next year as well. So that's what we have. If there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Any questions at this time? Kathy, please.
So thank you so much. Honestly, I am a big proponent of if you can measure it, you can manage it. Yep. And so data is something that I use to make decisions in my daily life. So your second conclusion, I was really happy to see because it was probably the most scariest piece of your presentation. And that's because we've been talking about the pandemic so much and how it's impacted us, but even pre-pandemic, we had almost 30% of students that were in the red.
Yeah.
And so I know it's like, let's look at the positive, but number one, the next time you have a presentation, I would love for it to be first. Because, no, seriously, like I would love for it to be first because this is why we're here. Like this is like this stuff here is where we can help. Like this is the meat of what we do for our kids. And so I just want to be clear on, I want to be clear on the importance of sharing this data because it's difficult to share. All data is good data because it tells a story, but it's difficult to share data that moves in the wrong direction. And so I appreciate you being here. But I guess my question is, when you say gaining 30 points, it takes a village, I imagine, and I'm not pointing out any schools or anything, but we've got several schools that are in turnaround right now. Does any of this information correlate with specific sites? And you don't have to say that now, but do we drill down in this information to that level and really get into the weeds with it to say, I know with the specific groups we've been able to see tonight, but what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things that we created for the executive team. And we shared it with the schools because the schools are very competitive. So if you're in the elementaries, you want to see, okay, I'm over at the Hancock, how's the Kennedy doing? How's the Brookfield doing? How's, whoever doing? And it's the same thing with the middle schools. And, so we can definitely see there are schools that are improving at greater rates, at lesser rates. But, that's part of the work of, the Office of Teaching and Learning to get out there. And you're right, in terms of the, it's very important work. The challenge is real, and it's nice to say positive things. But when you have over 30% of your kids who aren't meeting expectations, those charts were wrong. They're factually correct, but that's not what we want to see. We want to see a tiny amount of red, probably none, a small amount of yellow, very small, and the vast majority meeting expectations. That's what we want, and we're not there. So the challenge is there, and the hope is that if we continue doing the right thing, we will continue going in the right direction, and we're just going to have to monitor that and follow it.
I think one of the things that screams out to me, and I don't know if this is a generational thing or my own kind of personal ignorance. I don't mean to put it that way, but I remember the days where there was only red, yellow, and green. And now we created another category which is partially meets expectations, almost to drill down even further. So what exactly does partially mean? Does it mean that they're a D-average student? Does it mean that can you just define that a little bit more for me?
Yeah, it's the state's doing. It's their category, and it means that you're close to meeting the expectations, and most likely what it is, you have some areas of weakness, you have some areas of strength, but you don't have enough areas of strength to compensate for your area of weakness. If I could equate it, it would probably be more like a C minus.
Okay.
But one thing that I do want to point out, those large-scale improvements that I talked about, they all followed a similar characteristic. They took, I hate to use these colors, to represent kids, but they took kids in the red and moved them out. They moved them into the yellow. They took the kids from the yellow, moved them into the green. And that's how they did it. And you can look back at our data in Brockton, same thing. And so that's the point that we're emphasizing at the schools. I could go to Maria LaForte back in the day, and she knew the names of those kids. Same thing with Sue. I mean, that's the level of detail that they got down to. And when you're sitting there with Maria and you're, on a leadership team and you hear that, and she's like, yeah, that's true. You realize that's what I have to do. And so the kids, if you can drill down to that level, which we can, you really have to start personalizing what you're doing for those children. But by the way, Mike, I swear I didn't, bribe anyone and say that I should go first. I swear I didn't.
Sorry. No, I just want to be clear about the importance of this data for us to see. So thank you so much for your clarifications, and the presentation was great.
Oh, thanks.
Any additional questions at this time?
Ethan, what was the amount of students that take the STAR test? What's the number?
Virtually everyone.
Yeah.
So it's about, the thing is sometimes you'll say, well, wait, that didn't look like 8,000, but it's about, because you have fall and winter, you had to take both. We had a lot of kids who were out. You have kids who come in, kids who leave. But roughly speaking, 7,000, 8,000.
Okay, so that's about half of our enrollment.
That's what this analysis is. The kindergartners, the first grade, the second grade, they also take it. They take a different STAR, but they take it. And we're just piloting very soon this at the high school level. I've been working with Cindy as the principal, and she's been, really behind this, and she wants it to happen. So we'll be moving forward with it even more next year.
So it sounds like this is more elementary and middle school?
This is elementary, and in fact, this mirrors, the reason why I did this presentation, the name of the game, the coin of the realm, is MCAS. We're under the spotlight with the state for MCAS. So grades 3 through 8, that's MCAS. Now, we'd like to have high school, but high school wasn't using it. So that will be in the future, but that's why you don't see 100%, but almost all students take STAR.
So I guess my wonder is there any way to get the early childhood data, just because
Sure.
usually that's where we could point those foundational skills to improve them, so then from 3rd to 8th, we can see more of that improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have it, it's just, it's built, so we can do that as well.
Mr. Homer, followed by Mrs. Ayers, please.
Thank you. Just to clarify too, the format for the STAR test is taken on one day or taken over multiple days?
It's usually taken over multiple. It's a quick test, but usually it's 2 different days.
Like similar to like the MCAS format where you do ELA on 2 days, math on 2 days, or do you mean that you would take ELA on
You
1
take
day?
ELA and you take math.
Okay, so there's not a chance that students are like partially completing on a test, absent on the second part. They're
Oh, no, you could definitely have that happen.
okay.
You could, but again, we control it. A kid can then come in and make it up later. But the thing that was so weird about COVID was you'd have kids going out for a long period. And so, but again, most of the kids can take the test. And it's short enough, and the schools are really good at doing it now. So most of the kids can get it. It's not 100%, but most of the kids can.
Just one last comment. I just wanted to say this to you, Ethan, and to you, Superintendent. Like, if you're looking at this data and you can see, or you get, and I realize I'm preaching to the choir, you probably already do this, but if you look at it and you see an opportunity where we can move anybody out of the red into the yellow, and if it's a group of students and it requires an additional resource, an additional spend, and we know, and I'm throwing this out this hypothetically, you know, if we had this one particular resource, we could get 10% of this population into the yellow over the next year. Please, please, please bring that to our attention. Because that to me is so important. If there's, you know, if there's a finding in that granular data that says we're allowed to provide this to a certain piece of the population to get them out of the red, that's something that I think we would 100% support and look at, regardless of the budget, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. I think it's worth bringing to the table, and I just wanted to be clear on that, because I know you get into the weeds with the data.
Thank you.
Well, that's where it's important for us to do a better job with our principals, school leaders, and with our teachers, doing a better job teaching them how to use data and how to inform instruction. And you're not only looking at STAR data, you need to look at their student work. You also need to look at absent rate. You also look at suspension rate. You know, and that helps you not only put things in place, acceleration in place for academics, but if you obviously see a student who's having behavior issues and getting into trouble a lot, it coincides with low scores. So that informs you that you need to provide more social, emotional support. So schools have been doing a really good job. And we're going to present to you next week about the visits, the TSV visits to the Department of Ed, and how they look at data. But we need to do a better job, really, helping our principals and associates and our staff to really, you know, look deeper at data, and because we have so much of it, and it can overwhelm people, so you have to get them focused on what to look for, and that's how you really inform instruction and improve outcomes. So you're right, we have to, you know, I think to the credit of the school committee, and you'll see obviously with the ESSER funds and the curriculum that's been added over the last 3-4 years, you'll start to see the benefit of that as far as the teachers having the tools. It's obviously important to have the proper tools that are effective, but at the end of the day, it's all about instruction. And the instruction, you have to know, you know, what the gaps are for students, right down to the details to what to focus on. So you're right.
Any additional questions at this time? Seeing none, thank you, Ethan. Thank you very much.
Items to refer to subcommittee. Is that me? Oh, sorry.
Those are old eyes right there, huh?
God, my eyes are gone. Approval of the summer schedule of school committee meetings on enclosure number 6. So the proposal is to have, as you know, we go to one meeting each month. Full formal school committees, we obviously have subcommittees, but we propose that it would be Tuesday, July 19th of 2022, and then Tuesday, August 23rd of 2022. Those would be the 2 formal summer school committee meetings, so we would need approval on that.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
it's just a suggestion, right? Is there any way that we can change the 23rd and suggest
Yes.
the last Tuesday, the 30th, August 30th instead, and vote on
I
that?
mean, the body can decide. These are just mere suggestions.
Just
The body
suggestions.
can absolutely do that.
Closer to the school year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do it earlier, too. I mean,
Yeah, because you have, you do have a meeting the first day of school, a formal school committee meeting, which would be pretty close to that, so you're welcome to
don't we do it a
move it
week?
early in August as well.
we'll push it the other way, because we are going to be meeting right early September, right?
Yeah, you meet in the first day of school, which is whatever day that is.
Oh, yeah, the Tuesday after Labor Day,
Yeah, we would meet that night.
7th, I think.
I would prefer if we met a little earlier, because if we went into any issues with school opening, at least that gives the superintendent and our chair time for us to look at any issues that might come up, rather than wait till like a week before. We can still add an extra day if we had to.
So keep it the 23rd?
If everyone's okay, maybe, that's a big
You
vacation
could do it the
week.
16th, you could do it, you
Yeah.
could do it whatever, honestly. And again, if we need to call a special meeting, I'll call a special.
It's fine, then we'll keep it the 23rd.
You sure? We could do it earlier.
Fine.
Yeah, we have the 9th or the 16th
We could-
of August we're looking
No,
at,
the
right?
23rd is fine.
23rd's good?
Okay.
Any other comments on that? Seeing none, I need to entertain a motion to accept it as submitted. Is there a motion?
Motion
Joyce.
to accept as submitted Tuesday, July 19th, and Tuesday, August 23rd.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mrs. Rivas Mendez. Is there a second by Mrs.
Second.
Sullivan? All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Passes unanimous.
Now items to refer to subcommittee.
Here you go. Are there any matters that are going to subcommittee at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on. Agenda 5 is the unfinished business, and we do have three matters relative to this. We have the discussion of potential vote of BPS district calendars 2022-2023, first reading 2/8/22. Any matters on that?
I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry. What are we voting on?
It was the proposed district calendar going forward into the next year. Yeah, if you
Oh,
look
gotcha,
at
okay.
agenda, yeah.
Okay.
So is there any discussion relative to that? It's in your tabs 8A.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Any
Motion to approve Brockton Public School District Calendar 2022-2023.
motion on the floor by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second was made by Mr. Homer. All in favor of that, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Passes unanimous. Next matter is discussion of potential vote BPS special education policies and procedures dated April 26, 2022. Again, 8A on the agenda tab. Mr. Homer, please.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was a motion that was brought up on April 26th to review and approve updated policy procedures manual for special education department. And having had a week to review that and having received the policy manual, I'd just like to make a motion to approve the update to the policy manual and bring that to the committee as a whole.
Thank you, Mr. Homer. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Homer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sullivan. Any comment on that? Seeing none, we'll take a vote at this time. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. Passes. Thank you. Last matter is, I'm going to put my glasses on here. Discussion of potential vote building naming public meeting of May 3, 2022. Ms. Azak, please.
The building naming subcommittee met a little earlier this evening, and we voted unanimously as far as, I can read it actually. So this was brought before us. A letter was submitted quite some time ago requesting to honor BHS alumni Carol Thomas and Vincent Macrina by naming the stage after them. So we met earlier this evening, and the committee requested that, it was unanimous. The vote was unanimous, and they requested that we move it to the committee as a whole to vote on, as far as naming the stage.
In the Nelson Auditorium, the main auditorium. Thank you very much, Ms. Azak. Comments at this time? Seeing none, I entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve the naming of the stage in the auditorium for Mr. Macrina and Mrs. Carol Thomas.
Second.
Motion made, oh, that was a quick second. Motion was made by Ms. Azak. It was properly seconded by Mrs. Ehlers. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Passes unanimous. New business, agenda item 6. Any new business from any members?
Just
Ms.
had a
Azak, please.
couple of comments. So some fun stuff. We missed, last couple of weeks were really busy for everyone, so we just wanted to acknowledge Mrs. Campbell and Miss Cunningham. It's Administrative Assistant Week, so we wanted to thank you for all that you do, and we don't want to just go without acknowledging that. So we appreciate you always being there and always being there whenever we needed anything. Sorry, I'm going to turn around this way. So thank you for all that you do for us, and please let Miss Lisa know. And a happy belated birthday to Lisa Cunningham. She celebrated her birthday about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And a happy belated birthday to our mayor, who celebrated a birthday last week.
25. I reverse it now. I'm not 52, I'm 25.
And a happy early birthday to
Thanks,
Mr. Rodriguez, who will be celebrating before our next meeting. So, but that was pretty much it. I just want to acknowledge those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A couple things, if I could. I went to South Middle School today, and I spoke to Mr. Jim Stapleton's class. It was an awesome experience. The boys and girls, the students asked me awesome questions. We were there for an hour. Principal joined us as well. It was my pleasure to present the school with a piece of the Liberty Tree that they've already displayed when you walk in. Hint, hint, if any middle schools want a piece of Liberty Tree, invite me and I'll gladly bring it. Also the Keith Center, gladly bring it to the Keith Center. Also just want to let you know that last month, of course, was Autism Awareness Month, and I went to the Arc and met some of the wonderful folks up at the Arc, up on the corner of West Chestnut and Pearl. And one of the gentlemen, I actually was taping a cable show called Brockton to educate and inform. One of the gentlemen is a proud graduate of 2021 here at Brockton High School. And I asked, his name was Nicholas, I asked him if I could do anything for him, and he asked me if I could replace his Brockton High diploma that had been destroyed when he spilled some liquid on it. So I already spoke to Superintendent Thomas. We will be, if you're watching, Nicholas, we will be coming to see you, Mike and I, and bring you a new diploma. It was well-deserved, so thank you for bringing that to our attention. Keep Brockton Beautiful Day is this Saturday. It starts at 9 a.m., goes to noon, up at Heights Crossing, up off Christie's. So you can come up there, clean up the city, and then you can go see Soraya at the summer camp kickoff, 11 to 3 on Belmont Street. That's it for me. Anybody else?
Yep, we have a couple of things. So, because we're not going to be meeting till the 17th. So the 36th Annual Harbor One Bank Fine Art Show is going on right now. May 3rd to May 5th. It's over at the Fine Arts Lobby here at Brockton High School. And it's from 5 to 7 p.m. And I believe they're going to have an awards presentation Thursday, May 5th at 9:30 in the morning in the Little Theater. And then I know we had mentioned we have the production of Hello, Dolly. So that is coming up next week. So for those that can make it, check out the times. I apologize. Maybe you'd have the times for us.
So it's Friday, May 13th, 7:30, Saturday, May 14th at 7:30, and Sunday, May 15th at 6 o'clock. And tickets are on sale for $12.
Thank you. And then congratulations to our junior class that just had their junior prom last weekend, last Friday. So we got to see some beautiful pictures in the Enterprise and then all over social media. So it looked like it was a fun time. So hopefully we'll hear from them soon. And as they take the role of seniors coming on just in a short month from now. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments at this time? Just thank you, everybody, for being here. I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion was made by Ms. Sullivan. Second? Second, Mr. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. Opposed? It carries. The Celtics are winning. Have a good night. Drive careful.